Good morning, afternoon, good evening, everybody. I am live, and I think I see your comments live and handy over here. Here we are. And let me know what you guys think about this new mic placement over here. Let me know how that audio is coming through. I want to make sure I'm coming through nice and clean. Good morning to all of you newcomers. This is what I call the Chakkalo report. Yeah, that's my name, and that's and that's what I'm calling it for now. Good morning, Desert Sunset, Falcon Steph. This is where we are not afraid of nuance and just a simple guy wanting to be involved in the news before he gets his day started at work. So, of course, I have to hit on it, right? First and foremost, let me go ahead and say, I'm glad everybody was safe when the White House Correspondents' Dinner was underway. Sean Nichols, new haircut. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ham White, you heard O'Donnell's interview. Trump was rude and disrespectful, although Norah handled it well, as anyone might, given his response. I'll get to that. On Saturday night, I was in my car driving home after Shabbat, as you guys know. And I was, for some reason, my car was tuned into POTUS for some reason. I'll let you figure out what that reason is. And I heard on the radio someone saying, "Oh, so they're evacuating they're evacuating the dais. They're evacuating Trump. We're getting reports of shots and so on and so on and so on." At first, there was reports that the perpetrator was dead, and as the information came out, he wasn't dead. And I believe Caitlin Collins even reported that he was dead, or she had a source that said he was dead. Of course, fog of war. You don't know if something is really true as it's unfolding. But I mean, talk about getting up-to-date information. A ballroom full of correspondence. I just thought to myself, I'm so upset with America. I just am. This is the way we're functioning now. This is normal. Funny enough, I had someone reach out to me last week, a real faith and guns kind of guy, want to come on the podcast. And I was thinking about it. Because anyways, didn't I touch on the Louisiana murders a couple of times? And the role that the government would play with gun control. Not to mention the other times that I've gone into it. I've gone into it in the Minneapolis case, just right here on this channel. So there was that. I now we have this added element of things, and I don't know if gun control quite plays a role in all of this, but I'm thinking about it. And of course, to hit on the point that I'm sure you guys were talking about, I watched the extended interview of 60 Minutes of Norah O'Donnell and Donald Trump. The president came out swinging against Norah because she read off part of the manifesto calling Trump a pedophile. And Trump really got insulted or acted insulted. Very big distinction there. So he, he really was or acted insulted, and said that he was waiting for the media to do it, and she was disgraceful and so on. The other time that I think he came out swinging, or I know he came out swinging, was in a CNN town hall with Caitlin Collins in the 2024 election cycle, I believe it was. And it was right when there was some back and forth going on with the Presidential Records Act and Mar-a-Lago document recovery and so on and so on. I think both women responded nicely to the attacks, and by responding nicely is they let it slip right off them. The way I've been pondering since last night, what is the right way to respond? Is there a right way to respond? I think you just roll with it. I think that's the best way to do it. Now, And that's as a reporter. If you're an opposing politician, there are other ways to handle it where you can fight back. But Trump's really good at what he does in the name calling and the insulting. So the extended interview is worthwhile. I mean, there's no additional information that came out of the extended interview for me, at least, but it gave me more of a perspective on where Trump stood. I'm thinking back to Michael Smirkani's conundrum: is he going to go to the Flyers game, or is he going to stay home and watch the the correspondence dinner? I hope he made the latter decision. There was that. Is there anything else I wanted to say on the topic? The fact that the guy is 31 years old, right? I mean, there's another person in my generation that is mentally ill, and I keep on thinking back to how old was John Wilkes Booth? How old was the shooter, the attempted assassin of Trump in Butler? How old was the attempted assassin of Trump in Mar-a-Lago? There's something having to do with the under 30 age, or 30 and under age, and this generation. Tammy Moran. Yes, I was thinking about you, or that point that you just made. Barry Weiss and running CBS. I was expecting Trump to say, when he was coming out punching Norah O'Donnell, I thought he was going to mention, well, I guess you didn't change under your new owner, or something like that. But he decided to go the route of saying that I got $32 million out of your network, which happened before the Weiss Ellison takeover. Nancy, let me address your point. Your point is asking, why did Norah highlight Epstein? The point is, it was legitimate to highlight Epstein. It was in the perpetrator's manifesto, and it was very legitimate for her to bring it up. There's no such thing as, no, she's not legitimizing the manifesto. She was asking him about a quote from the manifesto. Now, could she have brought up an anti-Trump quote? She could have. And in my opinion, she should have been prepared to, especially when Trump pressed her on it. Because when Trump pressed her on it, why don't you bring up the anti-Trump stuff? She didn't have an adequate answer. That's what I think. But it was not illegitimate, or I don't think I know enough about journalistic standards to say that her bringing up the child molester kind of accusations was out of line. That's not what I think. Okay. Let me go to some other headlines I wanted to hit on. I think that's all I had to say about that. I think. Righty. Okay. I was also pretty shocked over the weekend. Trump pulled back the vice president, Witkoff, and Kushner from going to Iran to have further talks. Despite that, Bloomberg is reporting this morning Iran's foreign minister to meet Putin with U.S. talks at stalemate. But it's reported also that the Iranian government offered a plan to open the Strait of Hormuz. But for now, Al Jazeera is reporting that the Strait of Hormuz remains shut. How much of a ticking time bomb do we have on this economically, internationally? I still don't know. Sean Nichols is asking, has the manifesto been published anywhere? Well, Sean, you, the friend that you're asking for, is he going to sit down and read the manifesto? Let's see. Back to Iran. Pakistan seeks to build a bridge to bridge the U.S.-Iran gaps despite failure of face-to-face talks. Trump pulled back the vice president and his team by saying, "Hey, we have all the cards. I don't need to go ahead and chase after them." Stalled This is a Bloomberg article here. Stalled U.S.-Iran talks show limits of Pakistan's mediation drive. I mean, I think Pakistan's really, I mean, from what I'm reading, is working hard towards it. And let's see what else we got going on. And again, this him pulling back Witkoff and Kushner could be another one of his theatrical moves of saying, "Hey, we're posturing here, and yeah, last minute cancellation is our posture," and try to play the theatrical game that way. So King Charles and Queen Camilla are visiting Trump at the White House for the first U.S. trip as British monarchs. It's interesting to think that the Queen addressed Congress in 91 or 92, something like that. And now her son's going to do the same in 2026. It's funny. My wife was asking, what is the point of the British monarch coming to visit the United States, especially given that they're head of state, not head of government? All right. Well, there's that. Whoops. Excuse me, guys. I have my alarm went off. Okay. There was that. Let's get back to it right now. All right. Sorry about that. But it's safe to say with Queen Charles visiting. Here's another thing. With Queen Charles visiting, I'm thinking the pomp and circumstance. The pivot of Trump on Saturday night. And I'm going back to the correspondence dinner. The way that Trump pivoted to this is why we need the ballroom. And now the idea that there was a senator from Montana, I believe, proposing a bill saying this is the reason, this was an assassination attempt on Trump. This was an assassination attempt on Trump, and I'm going to propose legislation, a bill in Congress to legalize his renovation of the ballroom, so on and so on and so on. I don't want to say it. Trump is a businessman. He saw an opportunity to make a point that he was long being ridiculed for, argued against, and was able to expound on it. That is the business mindset. He was finally giving something substantive, a reason to go for it, and he did. He should have. He should have. In my opinion, there was a need for the ballroom. He had a reason. He was given one on a golden or silver platter, whichever you want to use. The fact that now it's being used for the ballroom, so be it, right? I mean, the whole wing of the White House is already under construction. Just finish the damn thing. So his pivot to do that, great. Now, the senator, again, I forget his name, and I think he's from Montana, offering a bill to legalize the ballroom. I mean, he, in a different respect, saw an opportunity to just gain Trump points. So let him do that. And the DOJ, I believe Blanche, acting attorney general, came out saying, offering some kind of ultimatum regarding the construction of the ballroom. I read that on Fox News, so take that as you will. Take that as you will. Okay. There are some new headlines today regarding the Virginia redistricting, or what I think is just flat out theft of certain Republican seats. Virginia Supreme Court considers whether to block voter-approved U.S. House map favoring Democrats. I think that's the AP reporting there. That's all you have to keep in mind when considering Virginia's new electoral map. It's in that headline again. I'm going to read it. Virginia Supreme Court considers whether to block voter-approved U.S. House map favoring Democrats. So you know that the Democrats are going to argue it's voter-approved. And you know that the Republicans are going to argue it's favoring Democrats. Very simple headline, and we know how it's going to come out. Now, 3 days ago, interesting, a publication called the Charlottesville Tomorrow reported less than 24 hours after Virginia voters approved the controversial redistricting referendum, a circuit court judge ruled the referendum unlawful and ordered it stopped. The judge ruled in favor of Republican groups that had sued the state multiple times to stop the redistricting effort. Virginia's AG said he will appeal the decision, but in the meantime, there could be no redistricting. The ruling said that the amendment violated state law and constitutional requirements, relied on a misleading ballot language, and goes into it deeper. All right. You already know my thoughts on the Virginia redistricting. And I do think this has a good chance of working its way up to the Supreme Court. I don't know if it's right or wrong for me to be hopeful that the Supreme Court steps in and says this whole redistricting thing is the fact, if it's not objective and arbitrarily drawn lines, it's a violation of the 14th Amendment. Not everybody's being treated equally. Why would you squiggle this way and that way without a really good reason? Think of it as like a strict scrutiny kind of thing that I'm hoping they develop. Now, is it right or wrong for me to hope that they develop it instead of, I don't know, Congress or everybody else, I don't know, figuring their stuff out? I don't know. But I just hope this problem gets fixed, because nonetheless, it's a problem. Guys, it took almost 4 or 5 months for me to get interrupted in the middle of a stream, by the way. That was really cool. Okay. Oh, this is also interesting. So there's a really cool AI bot out there. Most of you guys know Perplexity, Claude, ChatGPT, Google Gemini. Meta, the parent company of Facebook, purchased Manus, M-A-N-U-S. Very powerful artificial intelligence. And China blocks Meta Platforms' $2 billion deal of Manus. Meta is already funneling a ton of traffic to Manus, but I'm wondering, how can China do that? Or maybe it's just in China? Let's see. This is the Washington Post reporting. Manus AI, which was created by the Chinese engineers from Wuhan, relocated to Singapore before Meta acquired it in December. In January, Beijing began investigating Manus for compliance with export controls, and authorities barred 2 of the company's leaders from leaving China several weeks ago as part of that probe. On Monday, today, China's National Development and Reform Commission, a powerful agency under state control, issued a statement saying that it had decided to prohibit the foreign acquisition of the Manus project, and that it would require the parties concerned to unwind the acquisition transaction. But it's not immediately clear whether Chinese authorities have the jurisdiction to reverse Meta's acquisition, completed months ago, or how they would enforce their edict. Most Manus employees are now in Singapore and integrated into Meta's offices here. Meta and Manus did not respond immediately to requests for comment. Very interesting. Very interesting. And we were concerned with what China was going to do with TikTok information and all the Americans' information on that platform. My God, I mean, if you needed to see their far reach, this is it. This is it. Let's see what else we have going on in the world. That's a really interesting point there. The suit between Elon Musk and Sam Altman, founders of OpenAI, it's actually heading to court. I mean, I remember years ago when Musk sued either OpenAI or Altman. I just totally thought it was theatric, but they're actually going to court. How's that? It looks like Musk. Here's the Guardian reporting: Elon Musk and Sam Altman face off in a court order over OpenAI's founding mission. I guess that's the best charge, if that's the right word, or action or complaint that Musk can take Altman to court over. Let's get a few more. Supreme Court to hear Bayer approval of a Roundup cancer lawsuits. Well, Roundup, the weed killer, is being sued over. Why does that a Supreme Court matter? Now I'm clicking on it. Supreme Court is to hear a landmark case, Roundup weed killers. Let's see what the New York Times is reporting. Or here's CNN. It could define a long-fought battle over whether one of the most commonly used weed killers is safe. But I'm looking, what is the constitutional issue here? Hundreds of protesters are expected to convene in front of the court ahead of arguments, where there are more than 30 speakers will rally attendees to push for more pesticide protections. There you go. In a brief filed with the court solicitor general, D. John Sauer, wrote that the EPA has repeatedly determined that glyphosate is not likely to be carcinogenic in humans, and the agency has repeatedly approved Roundup labels that does not contain cancer warnings. RFK is all over this article. I don't know, something that's going to have to be looked into a little more. But I'm struggling to see the constitutional issue into a weed killer and liability for cancer. So there's that. Comments time, everybody. So let's see how that goes. Let's scroll up here. What have you guys been saying? Ham White, you were surprised that they held the event there since that's where Ford was shot. Was Ford shot there or Reagan? Maybe both. I mean, I know that there was an attempt on Ford's life, but I know for sure Reagan was shot there. I believe you're talking about the Correspondents' Dinner. And Tammy Moran, we always think we can prepare for every possibility, in my opinion. It's next to impossible. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I agree with every word. Tammy asking Ham, how do we harden every venue? Well, you make the ballroom, right? That's what Trump would tell you. And let's see what we got. I love how some people, I think they call Sue-Ann Susu. I mean, I love how they call them that. Nancy, for that Norah O'Donnell, she just legitimized the gunman's manifesto by her attack/questioning of Trump in that manner. Well, let's see. Does Ham respond to her? The Secret Service is a part of the Treasury. They're getting paid. HLS is a broad agency with 22 separate subgroups like the TSA. All but a few are being paid. Not quite sure who HLS is. I think that's maybe Capitol Police. No, not quite sure. Um. Okay. Ham White, let me know what you think of this new audio setup and run it by Kiki. Let's see what happens. Shawn Nichols' new haircut. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Got a haircut on Friday. Let's see what we got. Ham White, Admiral McRaven. First reports are always wrong. First chapter in his book on managing crisis. You got to love the Admiral, right? I do. He was on Squawk Box the other day with Andrew Ross Sorkin, who, by the way, it's one of the 10 Commandments, not, well, it depends what it is, but it depends how you interpret it, but not to envy. But I envy Andrew Ross Sorkin. I think he has the best job in the world. For sure. For sure. Nancy Lawrence. She was inappropriate and wanted to highlight Epstein because of the Democratic agenda. Again, it was legitimate to bring up the manifesto. It was. Should she have been prepared with the anti-Trump parts of the manifesto? Yes. Yes. And Trump pressed her on that, as he should have. But it wasn't illegitimate to bring that up. Desert Sunset, Trump can't stand being questioned by a woman. No, he can. He can. He doesn't mind women. We know that. What, does he have an issue with Laura Ingraham? No. Tammy Moran, no hotel guests have their bags searched at check-in, or do we want that? How far out from the event? Tammy, you know what I'll tell you? I'll tell you, I have family members that have been in Jerusalem for a state visit by Pence and some other high up American officials. I'm talking like cabinet level American officials. And I believe they did not allow people to stay under or over their room, if there was even an over. But that Israeli security was tight. Maybe they can learn a thing or two from, I don't know, my family members who were at the hotel at the same time. Robert, Cuomo said this morning that he felt producers purposely had Norah read that part to him. I would not think so. Not under this ownership, no. Maybe some old timer 60 Minutes people that had an agenda might have said, hey, if you want to mess with them, read this. But let's keep going. Desert Sunset, fertilizer problems, the lack has already affected planting season in many places, which will affect the supplies in many spots, accelerate hunger, famine, not just prices for the rich nations. Are you talking about the Roundup case as far as the weed killer? Because that wasn't the point. The point was I wanted to see what the constitutional case for that was. I mean, to end up at a appellate level of the Supreme Court of the United States, I mean, it's got to be an issue. If that was about the Strait of Hormuz still being closed, let me know what you think. The Three Stooges, Vance, Kushner, and Witkoff. Well, I don't think so. I think they're really smart people. They're subject to the rule of Donald Trump, but I think they're really smart people, and they have a lot to prove. They have a lot of wins to prove for themselves. Falcon Steph, thank you for the compliment of refocusing after the distraction. Yes, the struggle is real. We are doing it live. Victor Perkins, admiring Nancy Lawrence's passion. Very nice to see compliments over here. Desert Sunset, the building of the ballroom needs official blessing legally. One way or another, there's a destroyed part of the White House that is being built as a ballroom. So just finish it. I think it's the battle for legality is long gone. Desert Sunset, Texas redistricted without asking voters. I know. And it's not a good thing. No one should have redistricted just to win the midterms. No. Not Texas, not Virginia, not Florida, not Indiana, not California. Suan telling Macaroni, New York Times had a good piece yesterday on the contracts for the ballrooms and the fountains. It was also interesting in the 60 Minutes interview when Trump said that he specifically did not authorize suites and stuff being built in the ballroom. Interesting to think how that might have been used, right? Hamway, the Virginia case is not a federal issue at this time. It is solely about how the state held the vote. So for the moment, it would not go to SCOTUS. Correct. I think ultimately the state will uphold it. I mean, so there was a circuit court ruling, then there was the circuit court ruling 3 days ago, at least. And now the Virginia Supreme Court is going to rule on it. And then from there, I'm not sure if the circuit court ruling will have to go to the Supreme Court or the Virginia State Supreme Court ruling will have to go to the Supreme Court. But one of them, I'm sure it'll end up in federal hands, and the Supreme Court will have to rule on this on a federal level for sure. I do think that. It'll definitely pass the rule of 4. Now, what'll happen after that, I don't know. That's just my opinion and prediction right there, right? And let's go into real time. Desert Sunset, you were referring to fertilizer supplies are, I guess that's shortage, SOH. Ham White saying Western style cattle are included in Article 1, congressional scheduling. Let's see what else we have going on. Sean Nichols, they call them circuits. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we just hit 31 minutes past the hour. I am going to be traveling once again tonight. I'll be heading back to Fort Lauderdale. Imagine that. And I'll either have to pull back Wednesday's stream or I'll have to pre-record it, one or the other, just because we have a show to attend. And I'm still thinking, do I want to hit some headlines on Wednesday, or I have 2 stories that I was waiting to unleash my opinion on. I have strong feelings about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, please comment, like. If you didn't subscribe yet, subscribe below. And I will see you on Wednesday, one way or another, because I'll do my best to join you in the chat, everybody. So be well, and see you soon.